Hello and welcome to episode number 4 of my disaster, not just my life, but the Lego room as well. So as you can see, we have got lots to do, but unlike episode number 1 and episode number 2, I'm actually stood in a place that I could not stand because the floor has been fixed, which means today is all about putting the tables back. But we have got lots of things to discuss as we go through. Main thing is the layout of the new room with regards to where do I put the tables? Do I drop these down to here? Do we put some more tables across this bit? What are we going to do with the Star Wars display? Is that going to stay where it is? Because if I put some tables across, it then obviously can't. So we've got a lot of things to discuss, lots of things to move, lots and lots of things are definitely going to be smashed. So it is going to be pure misery, me trying to move absolutely everything without trying to get it damaged. We have got lots of things which I need you guys and girls to type along in the comments below. Like, for example, does this haunted house go into our Indiana Jones display? Does it go into our haunted horror section? We've got the Rivendell stuff over there. How big do we make the Marvel and DC display and everything like that? So that will be going up in conversation as this video is obviously going live. But main thing is I need to get the tables in, and I also need to think of what I'm going to put on that shelf at the very, very, very back, because that is the first thing that needs to go up when the tables are in, because otherwise I won't be able to reach. So stick around for the ride, because it's going to be messy, things are going to get smashed, and I need your help. So the first dilemma is, what tables do we use? Now we've got these little teeny tiny tables just here. They're the 255 by 55 ones, which were being used as a display underneath, so they were dropped down. Now what I could do is I could keep them low, and I can just raise this table up ever so slightly, and then you're going to be stuffed because you're not going to see the roller coasters behind it, which is always going to be a bit of a nightmare. The other thing I could do is these 255 by 55 centimeter tables. They could go down in with the display area where I do all the unboxing and all the bits and pieces and the lives and things like that now, which would then mean we could then double stack as these two tables are. But these two tables will basically be have to double stacked from this Ninjago box through, which obviously all of these bits and pieces need to be tidied up before all of that happens. And then that way we will have a double display on that bit and on that bit, which means from here you'll be able to see the back, and then as you crawl through, you would then actually be able to see the front, which I think would look quite smart. So that's the two tables there, which then means this table over here could go to where those two 55 by 55s are. So that's simple enough. We've also got a gap for a table to go here and another gap to go here, which means the table that is actually downstairs in the other room will actually have to come back up. So we are going to have to go to one area to the other. And I think we'll just do it little bit by little bit, because if this is the last table here to move, I can just break my neck, carry that over the hatch, and then just put it just here, because we did have 3 tables for our superhero display, and I want to see what it looks like with this double stack, because if it's not going to work double stacked and me crawling underneath and with the amount of room that I need, then it's just not going to work whatsoever. And then this is going to be a super short video, because I'm going to be stuffed, because I'm not too sure how to design the new layout, which is always going to be a little bit tricky and interesting. So I think first thing first, what I need to do is I need to tidy up this mess, which is all stuff that had to be pulled out because of the floorboards, and I want to get these 2 tables, so that means moving the Joker Manor, all of those instruction booklets and 32 by 32 base plates. That table needs to move, and that table needs to move, and I need to get it to here without smashing anything that is on the outer edge. So the fun and games shall begin. Well, that was a schoolboy error, nearly did it again. So I've just picked up that table, well, sorry, this table from the top of that table, obviously walking backwards. Forgot there was a hatch behind me. Oh, I definitely need life insurance. Right, so this is here. So this is the gap that you're going to have, or I say I'm going to have to basically walk around in. So for me to get there, I will have to climb underneath the table, because if we want it, this will be double stacked. Now, the only problem is I don't know if from here to here will fit another table. All I'm doing is when the tables go down, I'm just going to put everything that's on the floor on the tables. Then I can move the other tables about, and then what I do is off camera, I just put all the bits and pieces back. So I'm not going to bore you on that, because otherwise this is just, because it's going to take all day, and it's going to take about hopefully 15-20 minutes of your time. If it's longer than that, either something went wrong or we had an epiphany. Talking of sort of forward thinking. Maybe up at the top where we've got the Jurassic Park bits and pieces there at the moment, I was thinking maybe putting all the architecture sets there as a mini land. Just because I really like them. They'll fit on that shelf nicely, and we can just create like a little path going all the way through. I think they might work. I just don't know how much, if they'll be seen. That's the only thing. So what I will have to do is obviously crawl underneath this table, which I'm not going to do. So I can just come over. Now, this would be the space that I've got, which it's a table's width is basically what I would have. Obviously, I can push this back and stagger it if I want to. We didn't have a table here last time. I could just do a run of tables all the way across. So we could just put 3 more tables in there and then just keep the floor open. That is the other option. Doing that, obviously, then nothing that gets double stacked. I've just got the floor space. I've just got the floor space in the middle. But with doing it this way and leaving that gap open, it does mean that you're going to get some nice photos and things all the way down for the superhero display from that side, and you're also going to get photos and stuff from the Marvel Hero section that side. So this is going to be basically in its own zone from probably here all the way back, I would imagine. And then that way I can still get into the hatch to open that up, because there's loads and loads of Lego sets in there. But I just don't know if this is going to be too tweet. I don't know whether I have the 255 ones instead, so they're just down there, so it's a little bit lower, so then I can actually get in, and then have just used this table on top of this one, which then it might not feel so tight for me, because I think I might knock some bits and pieces. Now the other thing I was thinking of is the table that I'm sat on and the table that goes over the top of it, because it's technically now in the middle of the room for the first time. I might be able to put a massive roller coaster on each of the tables. So obviously we want the loop roller coaster, that's going to happen. I want the red roller coasters there, that will fit on this table. Now if I do that, it then frees up basically the whole of the back there, which is a huge area of just nothingness at the moment. So we could potentially put like the Jurassic Park section in there, and we could do some bits and pieces, or the Rivendell could go in there and we could stagger that down and step that down. It's tough. I know I keep going off track, but I need to get the tables laid out the best way it will work to save as much space as possible, because obviously, as you can see right now, it works all right like this. I can, if I didn't put any tables here, or if I put a table lengthways across the back, I could just walk round this table and then keep that table over there. But I kind of need to get into that corner every now and then as well. So really, if that table came up, and then I just put a towel, I could use that as basically storage, and then maybe grow back into that space if need be. I don't know what the best way to do this is. It's really difficult with regards to, if there's nothing on the tables, it'll be fine. I think I'll put the second table on here, because I've only got to move that stuff. I'll clean a little bit of the floor up so I can stand up a little bit better. And what I need to do is actually measure the gap from here to here, because if I can't get the table back in there, then it's going to be a no-starter, because I can't eyeball if that is in line with the other table or not. So that is going to be the first thing I need to sort out. Not gone well, so the gap is not going to fit that table in lengthways how we had it, which is basically how this is. So it's going to the wall. It will go across, so we can put a table basically going across the back, and then I can walk in and through, so I can put that in no problem. So I've got a walkway round, and then it will basically be like that gap to then get through, so I don't have to crawl underneath the table. But then doing that, I actually lose 2 tables, which is not going to be ideal. Now obviously I could spin this table round, and I could just have it off this one and potentially go double on top, or I do what a lot of, I guess, you guys and girls do over in the States, just fill the floor space up with tables, but then there's no way I can reach the back, so I don't particularly want to do that. So this going this way as a train thing is not going to work. So I'm going to have to flip that table around, and then we'll see what it looks like. Right, this is getting emotional quickly, but I will not cry. Now, the reason why this is so difficult is because I've not tried to do it this way before, because I've always left space to do unboxing videos up here and everything like that. So I've always had a table in the middle, or I've had something where this was an empty table here and it come out. Now I want to make it a permanent display. Now I have just spun it round this way. So as I come in over the loft ladders, I have double deep on this side. Now the annoying thing is that I can't spin that one round to fit, because I've obviously got this little walkway that I could just walk down and then reach everything to the left and right hand side. But what I could do is potentially try and pull this one back ever so slightly. But then if I do this, I've got a very narrow walkway here to get to those bits and pieces in the corner, and I'm going to end up falling down the loft ladder. So remember, if I do it this way, I want to try and free up that area, because that's basically the stuff that's over there, because it's so close to the hatch. I'm just going to end up falling over and falling down it. The other thing obviously that I could potentially try and do is spin this table back round and put it in front of this one. Now all of these white tables are actually the same height, they are all level. This one will be level, it's just on a top just down there, so we would have 5 tables there, not a problem. If it would fit in, I could just have a huge area and basically stand here and have 6 tables. So that is another option, where literally where the superhero section was, which was this bit here, there's nothing there. That could just be, you walk in, up over the hatch, where you got this space here. I could just get a table, potentially get another table in here, go lengthways, and then it's just figuring out what's what, because as it stands at the moment, if this was spun round and it went into this gap, that's obviously table number 1. Table number 2 is this one in the middle, and table number 3 is here. So it would finish in the same bit. It would just stick out to about where I am. And then I've got all the ceiling height then for the sets, and it's away from the roof height. And then I guess it frees up that bit just there. And then that's just going to be a standalone table for something. Because at the moment I'm just rendering a file that I did before this video. And it's basically a big display, and I guess maybe if I kept it like that, I could try and keep the Star Wars stuff on there. So we've just got, what would we have? We'd have 3, 6, 7 tables all over here of just a big display, and then we've got an L shape curving around it as another display, and then we've got the shelf. I just don't know how easy it is going to be to reach, because obviously if you think, if I'm stood here like this, there's no way I can reach the that over there. It just means I'm going to have to crawl over everything. I don't know how you guys and girls do it in the States with your massive basements, because you do have, it seems to have, big table displays like this, and then they seem to change. So I'm assuming that off camera you just go girls and guys, or guys and girls. So you guys and girls just crawl through. Possibly that might be the better option, because I've obviously got the 3 tables up here, so I could do that. And then I just don't know how much this is going to stick out. So what I'd do, you can see confusion on my face with regards to, I need space to get around. I guess if it doesn't stick to here and I use the middle of the room more for displays, because obviously you can see the Daily Bugle, for example, that's it. It's right to the edge of this table, because I think it's extremely deceiving how much this dips. Now, I'm not exactly the tallest, and that's my head. So I've got a full arm width until that wall. That's how far back it goes. And I'm not the tallest of human beings. I think I'm about 6'2". Yeah, take a little bit off that. So it does then mean we could have a completely separate display for this table, and then this unit just up on there. Or I could, like I said, I think I did say I wanted to use this for all my spare bricks and pieces. I think that was a plan potentially as well. Let me turn the camera off. I might have a little sob. Spin 1 or 2 things round, and then we can see what we can do, I think. Current state of play, that is what it would look like as a loop around, and that is where I would stand. So you can see it a little bit better that way, and obviously this is the problem, because I said I can't get another one in. But what I could be able to do is just get a different size table just to connect from there all the way down, so that way at least I can still stand here and have a display that side and that side. Now the other thing is, this is where I'm umming and ahhing now, that if I was to fill that gap with a table, realistically, are you going to be able to get close enough to the roller coaster? Are you actually going to be able to enjoy the display enough? Because I just think I'm just too far away from it. I can't see it at all. Now, I do have that table there. That is a free table. Now, what I was just about to do was actually fill that gap in and see exactly what is what, because I did have an idea of if I could put another table in the middle, and then I could also have a table in the middle, so on top of them, directly in the middle at the highest point of the roof, so we could basically tier it and stagger it if need be. As it stands at the moment, obviously if I was to take a step back, because I have got a little bit of room now here where I can walk through, we have got 2 meters of length for a display going from left to right. So if I could just get a slightly smaller table and carry on with it all the way to the wall and then not put anything here, I'd then have 3 meters all the way through. So it's just a bit of a nightmare trying to figure out exactly what's what. Because obviously I don't want to lose table space either, which is because as it stands, all the tables that are in here, this is the table, this is how it's always been, just a different configuration. So like I said, there was 2 tables behind me. I think I might be able to put another table directly behind me. So these 2 would be paired up. So where this and this, we could have a small section for the theme park just here. This would then be left as a gap, and then there'll be nothing, there'll be basically, that's just wasted space, because there is a hatch, like I keep saying, there is a hatch just there. It's either that or I just carry on, because this table, look, is in line perfectly with that wooden bit. So the other easiest option to do is just bring this all the way down, and it just goes all the way. So you've just got a thing all the way around the outside, and then you've got these tables in the middle. That is another option that I can do. So I don't know, I'm a bit stuck at the moment. I don't know what to do with this table. This is the one that is bugging me. The only other thing I can think of is if I can try and push these over ever so slightly, or I just try and drop it into that gap and it goes left to right. Obviously we were saying about potentially with this layout, obviously with where I'm stood right now, it does look quite impressive with regards to being able to see the middle, but it would allow me, I think, to double stack the table here. Now if I can't double stack it with that one, I might be able to double stack it with a 55 by 55, and then we'll still be able to have all of this roof height as well. And that way I've given myself space to the right, that table's in, and then we've gained either a table here, so that's an extra display space, or we continue this down and all of this just becomes display space as well. I need to know what you would prefer for yourself, because obviously the greediness of me is like, well, yeah, just put a table in the middle and it's fine. But I'm stood here now going, I wouldn't be able to get into that corner. I can't get to the carousel. I can't do half of that stuff, because as it is right now, I would have to crawl underneath the table to go through. Or if I customized it, I'd be able to walk around the table. I can easily fit through that gap because there's plenty of space, and then I can just walk around rather than crawling underneath. If I didn't have to crawl underneath, I can then obviously start doing a second tier underneath the table. So we don't just have to go up, we can go underneath as well, because obviously that's what we've done with the roller coaster under there. So I could just get a load of tables, like a load of these IKEA tables, of 55 by 55 black tables, and just have a secondary tier underneath. So that way I can have theme park up there, and then we've got all of this floor space that could just have a couple of tables on all the way around the outside. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to get that table over to here, see how much space it gives me, and then we'll make that decision. Right, the pain is real with this one. However, I think we're getting there. So we've got an option. This is an option. This can easily be removed. I can just put 2 of these little tables on top of each other here. That way it's not as tall, so I can still see everything from this side. And because it might not look like I've done anything, I have tweaked some bits and pieces here, and I've got this nice walkway. I'm actually now creating a secondary display here. So basically how I'm stood on this bit would be how I'm stood on the inside. So we can actually have stuff facing forwards, maybe across the top, and then that would be linking into that. And then underneath, because we've got all of this, it's not too dark, and I have 2 of these tables. Those 2 tables would fit there. So basically that can actually stay as it is. I could obviously spin them open and open it up, and then we can just have 2 of these tables side by side. I could just keep that bit there, and what I'd do is I'd probably put the other table right beside it. And then even with the tallest sets, with like a roller coaster, for example, the roller coaster would still go on there and it wouldn't hit the ceiling. So we're not going to lose ceiling height on that. we'd actually just gain basically a tier and have the smaller stuff underneath. Now the other thing is there's a table in the shed where I'm going to take you in a second, which is our unboxing table. That will actually work going across here from left to right, and it just happens to be a meter long, and that meter stops here, and this is how big that flap is. So from where my finger is to the wood is one big hatch, so that could be removed. So then what that allows me to do is walk through this gap and through this gap, so I don't have to worry about anything on there, and I can just basically stand here as I am, and I can get to that bit easy enough. Now don't forget, this then wraps around onto this bit, which would then wrap onto this bit, which would then connect to that table. So we could have a horseshoe display here of something completely different, and have all of the back of all the sets basically facing that way of the theme park, or it could all be staggered or whatever. But this does give us a secondary option of surface area for a display, and then all of these bits and pieces in there, that will then just allow me to put like the bricks in and just like sets and things like that. But what I'm doing, or what I'm not going to be doing, is putting anything on these tables until this video has gone live to get your feedback. Because if this doesn't work, like these up here, you don't like the look of them on here, even though it doesn't look too bad, because if you've got that bit up the top and you just have two of them side by side. Problem is, like for example, Haunted, that won't go underneath, so that would have to go on top. So it's just one of those, and then that wouldn't fit underneath. So it does, for this section, we wouldn't be able to have lots and lots underneath. But then at the same time, if we put the Harry Potter underneath this, where it's a little bit darker, they would fit. Obviously you can see absolutely perfectly, and you'll be able to see them from both sides, and we can create like an alleyway just underneath the two tables. Does that then mean we could put the new Harry Potter set on top and other bits and pieces and have a double decker of Harry Potter? It's just options, isn't it? It's just options. But if it doesn't work, basically these two tables will go downstairs. They will go into the unboxing area, and I can just use these tables elsewhere, so it doesn't matter. This is just bonus. This is just bonus tablage that we did not have to start with. Now, it looks simpler than what it is, because that table needs to drop down. So you can see that this one at the back is a little bit higher because it's on a top. So I do actually have a spare top. I just need to get some more legs from IKEA, so I could just use another bigger table anyway. But what I need to do is I need to get this table up and off, which I think is what I'm going to do first. I've then got to pick this table up over all of this and put that table down here. And then I've got to go and get the legs from the other table, put those legs onto the table that's on the base, and then rebuild another table just there, because everything that's on there, including the new space roller coaster, has to come off the bottom, because I didn't think it through when I did it. So it just keeps going and it keeps going, and no, nothing has moved. But like I said, easy enough walkway through, so that's plenty of space for me to get past. It just depends on how tight this gap's going to be. I have measured it, but I think I'll be able to just shimmy through and it'll be absolutely fine, and we can have multiple displays, I think, on the go at the same time. Finally, some progress. Now we are going to be going in and getting in the table in a second. We're going to go for a very quick wet run outside, but this is it. So this is over to the side. This actually works better for me. I've actually got a lot more space, so I can now stand here easily, get to these tables, absolutely no problem. That wraps around. Ignore what I was saying with that, because that won't work up top. But what it will do, if this gap works fine, which it will, because I can just walk into this gap to then cut through that gap, not a problem. These tables can just go underneath the middle, and we can have two tables smack in the middle of this table, and then we can just make an under table display. So we could just use the surface area underneath rather than eating into the top. So that is what it's looking like currently. Now, there is other options. I know it annoys some people. It doesn't bug me, but I know it annoys some people that the tables aren't level because one's custom built and one's not. All I've got to do is raise the white tables up with bits of wood, which actually I don't think a lot of you would have realised, but I actually had to do that down here for all the tables that were here, because like all my life problems, nothing works. The loft ladders were coming up and hitting the table, so what I actually had to do is raise the tables up so they went underneath. I now don't have that problem with them there, so I now actually have to drop this table down because that's now not level. But what I can do is I can raise all of this table, that one, and the one that's going to go there up, so they are in line with the wooden table, so the surface is all completely level. And then obviously this table then will be a little bit lower, so we'll have more gappage between that surface and that one, because that roller coaster isn't exactly the smallest of things. It fits on that table absolutely fine, and it wasn't touching the table that was over it. But what I do need to do now is get the other table, put it in, make sure that I can snake through, which I know I can, absolutely no problem. It's going to be tight, I might knock something off, but it's a good use of space. And obviously with me stood here and having all of this space around here, that works absolutely fine. Now the other good advantage is I now will have at least two, or if not, yeah, will be two free tabletops, which will then allow us to start actually creating a display. So what I need you guys and girls to do is eyeball this layout. So this is how it works. We've got a table that comes down, and then we've got table 2, table 3, table 4, table 5. That doesn't exist because this table will go underneath here. That one will stay where it is, but it would just be dropped to the floor. The next table will go across. I need you to think, do we need to raise it up, or should we actually just create some steps or a little cable cart to take it up to the next tier? What will go where? This is the big fun and games that we had last time when we did this. Now, we have completely rearranged it, because obviously this is the first ever time that this table's been lengthways. I have the perfect gap, so I can now get to in there anytime I want to get in there and get all of the older Lego sets out if required. We've gained surface area as well, so you can see where everything is. We have this bit here, we have this bit here, and I'm happily stood with the loft latch behind me on purpose to make sure that it's fine. That's why I'm staying stood here. I've not yet fallen over, and again, easy enough to squeeze through. I've just thrown everything on the floor over there, as you can see, but there is plenty of space all around here. But what goes where? Do we have a big roller coaster on this bit, another big roller coaster on the other, and obviously I then stand in the middle, and then underneath those tables do we put the smaller roller coasters underneath, and then we have all of the big roller coasters in the middle? That then frees up that huge L shape for something. Does that whole L shape then become our superhero section, because obviously it is a big thing? And then that will maybe allow us a third tier for expansion up at the top, because we weren't too sure what we can do, but we know that the modular buildings would fit up there. So I could easily have like a street row across the top, and then all of the carnage and battles and everything going on that L shape, because you can see where the Daily Bugle is just there. It's a little bit tight, but bring that into the middle, that would be absolutely fine. That is our deepest section, and it is our biggest zone, because that was where our Ninjago bits and pieces were. That then leads us on to the next bit of these two tables. With these two tables, or these three tables, is this a separate display as a 3? Do we do a separate display here as a 1, 2, 3, 4? Does this whole L shape here, which is obviously a parallel L shape to that one, that's what you got to look at it like, is this another big display, or do we have a table of 2 for a display and then a table of 2 here for a display as well? And then we have another table of 2 just here, and then another bit for that. So we've got loads and loads of options. I just need to know where to start and how many tables to allow for each section. That is what I need you guys and girls to do, to start commenting now of what I should allow for what. Obviously it should be a table of theme really, but some of the themes are massive, like the superhero was taking up about 2.5, so it either needs to go on all these white tables here, or it needs to go in the wood. That's the only 2 places that it can go, and then from there we can expand on. The wood might be the better option, and the advantage of actually keeping these slightly lower is the roof height at the back. That's the other thing that you've got to consider if you want me to level them off. The roof height is a little bit easier. Ninjago stuff can drop down. Obviously I can open this up. There's a lot of options, and I think this is actually probably, this gives us the most options we've ever had for a layout. So it started off really negative. I know on a positive for me and a negative for you. I've not smashed anything yet. The tables underneath, I was saying about putting the roller coasters on top. We could also put the Miniland stuff directly underneath, but then we have got the floor, so we can actually have 3 levels. So we'll have the floor, that table, and the table over the top. So we'll have like a triple stack on that side and this side, and we can, whatever we do, it could just be parallel. So we could roller coaster, theme park on the 2 little bits of table. Then on the floor it could just be the Miniland either side, and that'd be pretty cool, because I could just put like a train track connecting it around the top edge. So there is this option of transportation around the theme park now, because whatever area we start on, it needs to be fully tiled with minifigures and everything else like that perfectly, and then we can just keep moving on to the next section. This is what the lives up here are all going to be about, or these updates are going to be about. I'm going to try and do it at least once a fortnight, get all the tiles and everything down. So I want to get it done. Enough waffling, let's get to the other table. Right, we have just beaten the rain. Now, if you were wondering what is going on in here, I use this little light, is this thing. So we've put all of these bits and pieces in here. That is all ready for this shelving that I need to sort out and do. And then we've got to figure out exactly what displays that we're going to make. But this is what we are after, this thing just here. So I need the top. Sorry, I'm lying to you. I need the, no, I do need the legs. I've got the top on the floor, haven't I? So I need the legs. So that's what we're going to get. I have to rip off because I can't carry this up the loft ladders. It needs to be stripped because the legs are too lengthy. And then what I'll do is I will then just buy 4 more legs to go on for this table. And what I was thinking about as we were doing some different bits and pieces as I was walking down is the 2 tables that we'll put, the little smaller tables that we'll put underneath this. There's no harm in us actually getting more of them and connecting them all the way down and having a nice shape underneath, so we could actually have a full underground display on a surface area, and then I don't even eat into the floor space either, which would be perfect because you would just be able to have all the way. So there'd be 3, I need to get 3 more and that would be fine. So I need 3 more small tables over a long period of time anyway, and I need some more legs. So that's basically a trip to IKEA at some point, but we can just expand on that. But I think what I do is I'll start off with a table under each one. That'll give me time to tidy up underneath those tables, and then we can basically crack on like I need to be doing now with this drill just here, and then we can just get on with it and get it done. And just like that, they are in. So that is the L shape. That's where I've been standing. These 2 tables here is what I've been going on about. So that one and that one, I'm stood in the disaster bit, and then we've got this big L shape around the outside. I think that's going to be where the modulars are going to go. I'm looking at that more and more. I think we can make like a Gotham up top, a Marvel section below, and just use sort of that middle bit, and then maybe this corner here could just be its own thing. I'm out of breath, as you can tell, because it is pouring down outside and I ran out of battery, which is absolutely splendid. So you can see now just the amount of stuff that we will have to do, which will be happening within the next uploads. And this underneath I think will work absolutely fine with the gap that we've got for some little Lego City sets. We can obviously put a little light underneath that there, and then we can just crack on and go from there. So I think we'll do that underneath this one as well, and then we can just see exactly what we can do with that. But this is how it looks like from here. So you've got the bit around the outside like I keep showing off. That is that corner. You can see that is where the walkthrough is. And then I've got the gap here, which is the exact gap that I need to be able to walk through. And then from the other side where I've just stood, that is what that looks like. So I think we're going to get some really, really nice displays out of this layout. I think we're going to get some really nice photography and things as well. I think this is actually the most tables we've had up here with the most space. So we have got 3, 4, 5. That would be 6, 7, 8. And then we've got all of the big ones around the outside, which would be the equivalent of another couple. So we'll say we're in double digits just for tables. And then we've got the 2 smaller ones. So we've got at least 12 or 13 tables up here. So the service area is absolutely massive. But I'm thinking how I'm standing and doing different bits and pieces. It's now going to be really simple, he says, to zone each area out. Because obviously I can stand that side. That's that one bit. Where I'm stood now, like I keep saying, it could be this corner now could just be something, and then this corner could be something or whatever, but we need to start somewhere. So I think if we start with the superhero section, because obviously that is the area that we've always done and we've always made it look really, really smart, I think we will start there. We won't drop it onto this bottom table this time. I think we'll use the shelves and the bit underneath, and then this bit all the way around. We can either do a full sort of 2 and a 3, or we can do a full 5 display, or whatever we want on that section. Obviously the roller coasters will have to come down somewhere, so potentially the roller coaster, the red roller coaster here, getting some nice photos with the Daily Bugle directly behind it. That might look quite smart as well. And then the loop coaster could go on this table again, because of the ceiling height. It can only go in 3 positions, so it can either go here, here, or there. And then obviously we have had ideas from a couple of people about adding the loop roller coaster into the Ninjago city area, and then we've got loads to do. Absolutely loads to do. So the next upload from this disaster series will be placing the new superhero section. I'm going to do this either today or tomorrow before this video goes live. If we don't like the looks of it, at least worst case, I've freed up some more space to put the other stuff somewhere, and then we can start properly. Because like I said, I have got sort of 2, maybe 3 service areas of table free once I've tidied it up a little bit. But it would be quite nice to get all of these modulars up and off, and then just figure out exactly what is going on. But there we are, there we have it. It has been a very long day doing this. It's probably been a far too long a video, so if you stuck with me to the end, thank you. I apologise in advance now, but we have got tons and tons and tons of stuff to do. So theming, So just as a quick recap of what we need to consider for the future is all the Jurassic Park sets, which is what the Jurassic Park gate. We've got the Rivendell that we need to put somewhere. We've got a horror section that we need to put somewhere. So that's 3 sections. We've got like the carnival bits and pieces. So you can see over there, you've got the coaster, you've got the bit in the corner. We've got the loop coaster. We've got the, well, I said that we've got the loop coaster. That will be getting bought before Christmas. So that's on its way. We have then got a Star Wars section with regards to like a calf, so we could potentially do that onto a double table if we want to expand the Star Wars for whatever reason, or the Star Wars can just go onto the top just here. We have then got the new coaster, which I'm looking at just here. This now needs a new home, and there will be bits and pieces. Now, actually, I'm glad we're finishing on this. Look at the size of this. It is half a table. So it's a big figure of 8 shape, half a table, with the queue line coming into the front, everything else on the back. That would just work perfectly, basically, there, facing both ways. So you can see you've got the nice bits. So we've got a lot of options, and also we've got the Harry Potter stuff, and we want to be looking at maybe the new Harry Potter set with the roller coaster, and obviously the Joker Manor there is going to look really nice up at the top, or straight smack in the middle just on that bit, or we triple tier it. We could come to the front and we could have a crazy Joker display just on that one table, then it sort of goes off. I don't know. I am overthinking this now. So guys, if you can like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Let me know all your feedbacks in the comments below of what you would do if this was your space. Let me know. Also, let me know what sets to consider, and obviously what space to leave for future sets. Obviously, we've got the new pirate set that has not been bought, and the new Viking set, as of the time of this recording, isn't even out. That, I think that would work really well with the pirate bit just there. So we could have a full water table if we wanted, just a water table of just like a water ride of something. We were talking about a Rivendell Rapids and all that kind of stuff. Can we merge all of that together? But like I said, first thing first, I'm going to start with the superhero section and see what you guys and girls come up with. If we don't like where that is, and we don't like all the modulars laid across the top, because we just don't think it works well, even though I think that would be a perfect street diorama, and then we can have all the minifigures in front of it, maybe be able to get a little bit of a vehicle in there as well, hopefully, but we'll see. And then the A-frame might just be randomly going there, just something a little bit different. But yeah, we will see what is what. But guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. You lot take care, and hope to catch you in the next one. Ta-da.